Is EDAW. Are you all ready?
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with each of you this evening, and thank you for stopping by and getting information about our firm. I hope you've had an opportunity to get our information. If not, please stop by after these sessions, and we'll be happy to share that with you. I think that we have just experienced what I consider to be a new level in community participation. I'd like to, well, not that one, but the speed dating your consultant. I'd like that, you know? That's really neat. One of the things we'd like to leave with you this evening is, why would you select the EDAW team? And one of the reasons why is, of course, we want to touch on these 3 points: experience, community involvement, and implementation support. And by that I mean experience with this team that we have here. We have worked together in the past. These aren't people that we've just pulled together for this effort, but we actually have had collaborative efforts in the past. In fact, we've also, in terms of the depth of the team that we have here, we have public safety experts as well as urban planners, as well as pre- and post-disaster members on our team. So we think we bring a depth in terms of the multidisciplinary approach that we could bring to your community. And then the community involvement part, how will we work with you? I think that's very important, and we're going to touch on that in just a minute. And then implementation support, and by that I mean getting the job done. Those are the 3 points when you walk away and you think about EDAW we would like for you to remember. Experience, as I mentioned, we have all worked together before. This is not a team that hasn't been pulled together just for this effort. The extensive neighborhood planning and pre- and post-disaster experience, we actually have a team member on our team, PADCO, if you're familiar with them. They're international, and they've worked in places similar. They're actually on the ground here in New Orleans, but they're also in Bosnia and other war-torn areas. So they've actually seen some really difficult circumstances, but they are here on the ground. Several of our team members are right here. And then we know your community, and by that we mean, while I am out of Atlanta, we have partners and team leaders. Everyone who's here before you are team leaders on our team, and 2 of our team leaders are local representatives. They are both born and raised, and they are going to be team leaders in terms of supporting our effort. This is a team that you will see every day. Well, maybe not every day, but this is a team that you'll be dealing with. These are your partners in building your community. Inga Kennedy here is a public involvement specialist. Inga has worked with the town hall meetings that we've had in Atlanta with some of your fellow community members who are displaced there, so she brings that knowledge. Dr. Brown and C.O. Bradford, if you're familiar with the 2, both of them have served as police chiefs in the city of Houston. And one of the things that we think is important about this process is that we address the public safety component. And we think it's important to have that rolled into our plans. And that's why we have them, because of the wealth of knowledge that they bring to our plan. And as I mentioned before, Bruce Richard and Barry Marks are our local representatives, and they are team leaders. And then finally, Walt Huntley. This is the guy who's going to speak to you in just a minute about getting the job done, implementation strategies. I've worked with Walt on several projects in the past, and he's the guy we go to in terms of getting the financing, identifying funding sources, and then how do we time these projects? We all recognize that they're going to have to be linked to a broader effort, so timing is going to be very important. As I mentioned, community involvement. How are we going to work with you? First, through public safety. We think that's an area we want to touch on, and I will turn it over to Brad, who's going to elaborate on that just briefly.
Thank you, Ingrid. Public safety is a leading issue in every community. Tonight is National Night Out. Our citizens are coming out this evening and tonight, meeting with police officers, to safety and crime prevention specialists to provide an opportunity to build a neighborhood plan that involves a public safety strategy in order for businesses to reinvest, citizens to relocate. The public safety issues must be addressed. We have successfully implemented public safety plans in other U.S. cities, which include
20 years. And I'm born and raised in New Orleans, so I know how to spell and say Tchoupitoulas. I know everything about New Orleans, and I'm glad to be a part of this team. I think we have a great team that brings forth a lot of knowledge from across the country and a lot of local knowledge. And a little bit more local knowledge is from our partner here, Barry Marks. He's going to talk a little bit about design issues as well.
Hi, my name is Barry Marks of Marks Associates. I've been practicing land planning and urban design in New Orleans for about 35 years. I was born, raised, and live here today in the city of New Orleans, where I've run my business throughout that period of time. One of the things that we're going to try to do is to make sure that as we develop these alternatives from the input from the neighborhoods, that we can weave them into the urban fabric that each neighborhood wants to have for itself and preserve the things about our city that we love. Thank you.
Good evening, thank you. I'm Inga Kennedy, and I'm going to be responsible for community engagement. Community engagement is going to be the spine of our process with you. Nothing will be done without involving you, without bringing you into the process, without bringing you into the fold. But my pep talk to you is that, remember, no matter who works with you, this process begins with you, it continues with you, and it ends with you. It will not be successful unless you see it through to the end. So stay involved like you are now. Just a little bit about what we're going to do and about our background. We are going to use a variety of techniques to engage you. Not any one technique or method works for any one neighborhood or any local area. And so we're going to be reaching out not only to the New Orleans residents here, but out into the other cities. And we have three people on our team who are from all the large cities. I have facilitated the flood recovery plan for the city of Albany, Georgia. They are into their 10th year of recovery, and I'm glad to say that as a part of that process, I helped them to not only facilitate the recovery, but they've made some actual improvements to their process. As Fredolyn said, I'm working with your New Orleans residents in the city of Atlanta, who are there getting their opinions and are ready to receive feedback from them. So we look forward to working with you, and remember, stay involved. I'm going to turn it over to Walt Huntley to wrap up.
First of all, I'm glad to be here. Walt Huntley and my firm, Huntley Partners, focuses on project implementation, community development, public-private partnerships. I will be looking at all sorts of ways to get the money. Get the timing set up so that the money is in place. Once we get the plans, we've got a great group of planners, but it all comes down to the funds. I started out my career in city government in Atlanta. I was a deputy chief administrative officer and chief of staff for Mayor Maynard Jackson, who initiated the NPU planning process in Atlanta. Atlanta's steeped in planning. At the Atlanta Economic Development Corporation, we dealt with, for 10 years, I had a public-private board, worked with 3 mayors, and for 10 years, I met every month, once a month, dealing with the most difficult real estate projects in the city, cutting through red tape, figuring out ways to get them financed, get them implemented, from neighborhood commercial redevelopment, cultural arts projects, the Rialto Theater, the Fox Theater, downtown housing, you name it, affordable housing, we were involved. So that basically is what my role is going to be. I've always had to be the guy who the mayor said, okay, what's the problem? And it usually got down to money, and so that's what I'm going to be focusing on. I guess we're out of time now, but I just want to let you know we've got an experienced team, and we will be here to answer any questions you have the rest of the evening. Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a little adjustment in the schedule because of some technical difficulties, so our next presenter will be Ian McNaughton Architects.